Hello and welcome back to the RWBY podcast. I am Four Babies in a Trench Coat, Mediocrity 4.
What am I doing here? I didn't win the lottery. Why am I tied to this chair? What do you mean I have to rank the characters in the episodes and their moments? I didn't even study for this test. Please, let me out of here. I'm high-powered, and I'm here by my free will.
Hi, my name is Dude What the Heck from the RWBY podcast RWBY Please on cynicaldude.com, and I'm here to ask and answer one simple question. WTF is a RWBY character? And which RWBY character would have the best FOV slider if they were in a video game?
Probably Ruby.
Probably. I mean, she's got this fancy eyes and everything, too. Shoutouts to anybody who got that reference.
I didn't, but I was rolling with it.
Like a pro.
That's a Total Biscuit reference. That's how he used to do his intros to his videos back in the day. So, rip Total Biscuit.
Oh man, I probably haven't watched a Total Biscuit video since he first got started. Just never got really engaged with him. So yeah, we're not ranking all of our characters. We're just kind of doing a top 10 and bottom 5 between me and Dude, and then HP is here for ship posting purposes, just to be antagonistic towards us as we do. No Coop. He might come in later. We don't know. So HP is doing double duty with his usual shtick and Coops. So let's get right into it. We wanted to do our bottom 5 first. And Dude, you wanted to rant about your number 5 pick for worst characters.
Okay, so yeah, this is the one I had the biggest rant for, so we'll get my rant out of the way. You might not be expecting which character this is, by the way. So my number 5
take
worst.
A guess?
Yeah. Oh, please do. I would actually love to hear that. Yeah. What's the guesses?
My gut's going with Blake, but I feel like that's too obvious of a choice.
I'm gonna guess Crow.
It is Nora Valkyrie.
Oh, okay. I see where the rant's coming from.
Yeah, you see where this is going. Yeah.
Nora was forming on my tongue, but please.
It is Nora Valkyrie. Because no, she was. I forgot where she was the first. No, we did this before, by the way. We did do a character ranking years ago. I think it was a 4-hour podcast.
Yeah, that's right. Never again. Since we just did one.
We just did another 4-hour podcast. I don't know. Next week's might be, because next is the 100th anniversary.
Yeah,
it's our 100th podcast. Sorry, that one could go long because it's our 100th podcast. So this one will be shorter. Anyway, so Nora used to be like really high on my list, obviously. And then this watch through, the character assassination of her specifically is just fucking mind blowing. Honestly, when you watch the entire show through, which I had never really done before. I used to do marathons, but never the whole show. And with how fun she is in the early volumes, how good she is in volume 4, and then they just, like, again, Kuro Yuri, that whole arc was so good. It was, they primed Nora and Ren so well for a good relationship and a good story, and it gave Nora more depth as well. She finally got to be the one that she really helped Ren and was there for him, and it continued her kind of underrated emotional support kind of character role. And then in volume 5, she doesn't do jack shit except for some lore dumping. She does have a relationship with Oscar, I guess, which is nice because she does have like kind of the most friends in the show, seemingly, which is interesting. Like, she makes the most friends. And then in volume 7, and especially volume 8, it's just like, oh, time to kill this character. What the fuck? And the worst thing was, I'll talk about this more specifically in the next spoiler that's going to be in the next episode we record, because it's in my bottom 10 scenes for sure, is the one where she just gaslights Ren into blaming him for everything, where she's in the bed, when she basically says, like, hey, you know, you're the one that was pushing me away, blah, blah, blah. I need time to figure out who I am, all that kind of bullshit. And that is such horseshit. Like, everything she says in that scene is literally wrong. Like,
you don't want to feel things that are hard.
Yeah, that's her in that sense. Like, Ren is literally the one trying to do the right thing, and you can tell the whole volume 7 and 8. Yeah, he's not always making the right decisions, obviously. But you can tell it's tearing him up inside.
And
You can
that's
tell
also
he's
kind of the point where like Ren
yeah.
is in a place where like he doesn't feel like he should be making these decisions.
Mm-hmm.
Where like none of them should. Like they're too young, they're too inexperienced. That's where he's coming from.
He's the only one who says the quiet part out loud and says to Yang, in fairness, Nora wasn't there, but let's be honest. If it's to the audience, then it counts, basically. For Nora shouldn't be that stupid if the writers aren't going to point it out, and the writers don't point it out, by the way, that they're not ready for this. They shouldn't be doing this. And he's right. And then the worst part is that he is then made to look wrong with Yang. Like, Yang is made to look right by the writers. And then Nora gaslights him into saying that he's like a bad person and ignoring her and ignoring the team, which he's not doing at all. Nora said like, "Oh, you we're supposed to be a team, basically." And he's, Nora, you dumb bitch. In Volume 7, you were the one being all gung-ho about helping Mantle. And Ren was the one who wanted to go with Ironwood. And then in Volume 8, when you two split up, you, Nora, you go with the ambitious, not probably going to work plan of invading Atlas, which is not for Mantle, it's for everybody else except Mantle.
And fulfilling
Ren
what Ironwood's plan was.
And Ren goes to help Mantle. By the way, with his teammate Jean, by the way, Nora, you're the one who left your team. Ren stayed with the team, and he helped Mantle, which you should be overjoyed about. And now you're gaslighting Ren into saying that he's the one abandoning the team? You fucking dumb cunt.
It is such a weird mix-up.
I'm not talking to Nora, I'm talking to whoever wrote this. Okay? I'm talking to whichever writer wrote this shit.
Yeah. Like, it is such a weird mix-up, and, like, there's part of it, like, I get. Like, RWBY 100%, like, she was always in favor of Ironwood's plan. As far as the CCT tower goes. Like, she should be the one leading that charge. And Jean is always, like, doing what he can when he can. Like, he exists, like, someone even pointed this out that, like, Ren was full of shit in Volume 5 when he was like, sometimes semblances and personalities don't mean anything to each other. But, like, someone actually broke down, like, every, like, canon semblance and how it, has to do with, like, the trauma that they experienced as kids, and Jean's just, like, feeling so useless and existing only to, like, be a stepping stone for his friends and his teammates, and it's literally, like, something he says right before unlocking his semblance, is that he doesn't care about what happens to him, so long as his team's alright. And so, like, it makes sense that he would be the one leading the stuff with Mantle. And then, like, they split up Yang and RWBY, and it's, like, weird, and I'll talk about that later. And then you would think that, like, Blake would go with Yang, because Blake is, you know, the social justice warrior or whatever, and she had been up Yang's ass, like, the past volume and a half, well, the past 2 volumes up to that point. But she goes with RWBY, which I appreciate, because we don't get a whole lot of Blake and RWBY together at all throughout the entire series. But it's still, like, I don't really get why the characters were split up the way they were. Like, again,
we're moving into scenes. We're moving into scenes, though, now. Because let me finish talking shit on Nora for a second, okay? One of my former favorite characters, which is why you said, we talked about this, Media and I both agreed. Because they're only doing a bottom 5, it has to be characters we are passionately angry about. They're not necessarily objectively maybe the worst, because Nora was actually a good character for a while. So, like, if you're actually placing her on a sliding scale, she wouldn't be this low. But in terms of, like, my anger towards what they've done to the character, it's probably number 1, actually. Okay, well, no, number 2. Number 1 is still higher. Nothing could ever top number 1. You know who that is already. But okay, so one of the things she says is, when she responds to when Ren tries to comfort her, she said, "How would you know?" When he says it's not true that she did something dumb. Fucking bro, he's been with you for 10 years. What do you mean, how would he know? He knows more about you than anybody on the fucking planet. He knows more about you than your parents, because you don't have parents anymore. What do you mean, how would you know? Nobody knows you better than he does, you dumb bint. Holy shit, who fucking wrote that line? And then the other dumbest thing, I mean, everything she says is really fucking stupid here. Yeah, I think he did. Hearing that line, yeah.
I forgot it was
'Cause
Thursday today is the reason why I didn't realize we were doing it.
no worries.
Yeah.
And then at the end, she basically one of the other things she says is she's only like, oh, I just I'm just good for like hitting and smashing things, basically, right? Bitch, that's your job. You're supposed to smash things. Everybody who's a huntsman and huntress smashes things. That's what you do. That's the job. What do you mean you're complaining?
To quote a character that will be showing up later on in the podcast, this is a job, and you all signed up for it.
Yeah. What do you mean? Oh, I'm good at hitting shit. Good. You're supposed to be good at that. Everybody hits Yang. Okay, Yang had her existential crisis when she got her arm cut off, and her job is punching things in the face. And even she was like, God, all I'm good for is punching things in the face. No, she had like an actual character arc where she actually dealt with her actual trauma and actually kind of got over. And in fairness, they actually made her take a little while to get over it. They had her shaking even volume 5. It's one of the few things they did well in that volume. But Nora's like, I have hammered. Like, the writers are like, I swear to God, they must have thought this. Like, Nora has a hammer? Therefore, she is dumber than the other characters. I swear to God, that's the only reason why they were able to get away with this
clever.
Line. Yeah,
they thought they were being clever.
It's like, and then she also says she doesn't know who she is without Ren. Oh my fucking God, dude! Have the writers not noticed the entire series? Nora clearly, yes, she's in love with Ren, duh, but she is clearly the same character no matter who she's with. She has the same personality with every single character. She has relationships with other characters, with like Jean, with Oscar, with Ruby, obviously now, okay? She's the one who tries to make friends with Elm and even comes up with a stupid fucking team name for them, which is kind of funny and charming, okay? She clearly is 100% her own person. She never makes decisions based off of what Ren does, except for the whole team going to the sheriff thing in Volume 2. That's it, but all the team collectively made that decision. Other than that, she does not ever rely on him for decisions. They never completely rely on each other, except for the time when Ren almost fucking gets himself killed. And who's the one who actually slaps some sense into him? Nora. Okay? So the idea that she doesn't know who she is without him is the most ass-backwards shit I've seen this show write in a long time. And there's a lot of ass-backwards shit they write. Because if anybody doesn't know who they are by themselves, it's Ren, not Nora. So they got it completely fucking backwards. And also, by the way, they said they said she needs time alone. And then they both end up on the same side of the barrier at the end of Volume 8. What the fuck? That's how you know this was all bullshit. Like, they don't actually care. That's the easiest thing ever. Fucking 5-year-old would have written that.
Now they can off-screen develop them to where they decide they should be by the time Volume 10 starts. It's like the Professor Hulk stuff from the MCU, where they just off-screen the whole thing.
I would bet you money I could get a 5-year-old that would know that. And nobody complains about this, by the way. I only found one RWBY tuber actually genuinely complaining about how bad Nora is now. Only one. Everybody else just completely ignores it like it doesn't fucking matter because all they want to do is rant about Bumblebee.
Present company excluded, obviously.
Yes, sorry, yes, except for you, obviously, I know. But
yeah,
I'm talking about...
I feel your suffering there, dude. Like, yeah, Nora's character, like, in that specific aspect, like, Nora should just be like, oh, hey, by the way, Red, I'm pregnant, and then everyone's like, wait, y'all two were having sex?
I still would have wanted that storyline because I do think it would have been really good, not just for her and for him, but also for everybody. Like having a reminder of like what they're fighting for, like actual life and stuff like that. I think it would have done a lot for Team RWBY as well, to be honest with you. So I still think that line would have gone better. Like that storyline would have worked so much better than what they've done. But what I noticed is watching the whole show back again. It's the writers cannot commit to any relationships. And it's not even just romantic relationships. They cannot commit to even friendships. They can't develop, even though the show is at its best when it does one-on-one scenes, they will never follow up with any of them. And they can never just commit to doing any sort of one-on-one like arcs with characters, except kind of for Bumblebee. That's it. So that is like one of the biggest problems with the show.
Speaking of friendships, does Clover show up at all in this list for any of y'all? Do y'all remember Clover?
Nah, he's too forgettable. I know who he is.
I didn't forget. I remember the RWBY shippers foaming at the mouth for that Yowie ship.
I mean, I wouldn't mind it. Just fucking commit to something, writers. They worked. They worked as a dynamic, so I wouldn't say, dude.
Doomed Yowie versus Forced Yuri.
I'm fine with that. I'd take that over Rose Garden. That'd be better. That would be better. All right, I'm sorry. Okay, I'm done. Someone else's turn.
So, Coop, do you have your lists?
Okay, well, let's see. I didn't put it as top 5, but I did write bottom 5 in my little scribbles here.
Well, who is the least worst of those 5?
Least worst, I put Penny as the least worst.
Ooh.
Oh, damn.
I did mull it over for a few minutes, and I was just like, Penny was, I think, kind of like the sort of like the worst, some of the worst things that you could do to somebody over time, because like she starts off being a cute little thing that just shows up and you're like, oh yeah, okay, she's kind of awkward but still somewhat fun character, and she has like the cool string sword things for fight scenes. That's neat. And then she gets killed, quote unquote, in order to start up a weird riot that invites Grimm into a place. I guess because people didn't know she was a robot and stuff, and it was that itself, that one whole scene with her, with that happening with her, was kind of I think that I think it was a little bit of a stretch uh in terms of like what one can say is like a reasonable thing to have happen to her. And then not her, but like the city itself, but that's not really about her so much. Then they bring her back, which, to be fair, they can because she's a robot, but then they just brought her back to kill her again, and I'm like, okay, so clearly that's what she's there for. Are they going to do it a third time? They've kind of set things up to where, no, we definitely can't, but could they? I don't even know at this point. It's really, I just really did not like anything that kind of came out of her whole deal, and I feel
My issue with Penny is, just going off of blood memory of RWBY, is she is basically used as a plot device. Like, she isn't a character, and which is, it's even more pertinent that she's like a synthetic human being, being like a robot with maybe a soul. So
that's way more of what I'm trying to get at there. Yeah, she is a plot device. Her original death was basically just used to spur on an invasion, kind of, just from I guess shocking the populace. But if that was the case, then wouldn't any large terrorizing event, like, I don't know, a natural disaster of some sort, an earthquake, that could have happened maybe to the city at some point, some type of disease, wouldn't that have caused a giant grim invasion that would have destroyed that one society at some point in the past? Like, it makes you wonder how they've survived this long. That's that and Penny's death thing kind of started that off in a way for me. And then Penny gets made into one of the maidens, and the maidens are, by dint of being a maiden, a plot device, because they're just a key that opens up a door basically. That's which is like really the lowest of the low that you can be at a certain point, and then after that, her death happens conveniently right after she has opened said door, thereby eliminating all need for her to do anything further. So it's like, what am I supposed to do with this? Like, she's not really, she is very much like just a tool, and it kind of sucks. The
So this is why I love having Coop on the podcast, because so we're going to talk about characters when they make it on someone else's list, right? Because Penny is on my list. So should I talk about her now or talk about her later?
Yes.
Now?
yeah,
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah.
Where is
You know
she
what?
on your list is the
Yeah, I was gonna
important question.
Okay, I'll just ask this. Do you think she's in my top 10 or my bottom 5?
I'm
I
gonna
would
guess
say
top 10.
I would say low top 10.
Yep, she's actually number 3 for me.
Mm.
Number 3 in terms of good. Now, in fairness, Coop, I don't really have any counterpoints to what you just said. Excellent points, very well made for the most part.
Coop
I
is
would
Ben Shapiro. You are the college libtard that has just been destroyed by Ben Shapiro at some random university by facts and logic.
I could also
I think
be
it,
the person that points out that Ben Shapiro actually made an awful rap track and embarrassed himself more than
Oh,
any
yes.
argument ever could.
Yeah, so I mean, both Nora and Penny were almost on my top 10.
Yeah, Penny's in my top 10. She's number 3 because I just like her. I like her personality. I agree that she is basically just a plot device, especially in the first arc. But that's the thing with RWBY characters is none of them really have that much character and personality, and a lot of the character and personality they do have is really bad. Like just going back to Nora, she had pretty solid character and personality. Was she the most deep character ever? No, but nobody in RWBY is. You know, we have to fight to defend RWBY. We're one of the
I guess
only groups that defend RWBY as a character, and she's still not even as good as Aang, who's like one of the worst characters in Avatar: The Last Airbender of the main cast, and he's still way better than RWBY is, right? So
well,
Penny's
I
got more character than a lot of the characters. I just think she's funny in the first arc that she's in. Her and RWBY are just funny together, which I like because a lot of the humor just completely goes away later in the show. It's terrible later in the show, honestly. And I didn't mind them doing the killing her in the first arc and bringing her back because I completely understand that it's not really that surprising to bring her back when they did the first time because she's a robot, duh. Like you knew she's coming back. It's not. I don't even think they thought it was going to be a surprise to bring her back. I don't think they thought it was like a reveal. You know what I mean? It's just like, yeah, duh, she's back. You know, like surprise, not even a surprise. So like if they weren't trying to be like M. Night Shyamalan thinking, oh, gotcha, then I don't mind. You know. And she's really fun in the second arc, and they actually do some actual stuff with her, trying to, let her have her fight the virus and stuff like that. I actually like that scene. I think that scene's pretty good. Emerald's actually pretty good in that scene too, and she actually becomes more of her own character when she actually pushes back on Winter, where she says like the whole thing about, oh, I don't understand, and then Winter kind of gives her some like bullshit answer, and Penny's like, oh yeah, I don't understand because you're being an asshole, basically. It's like, okay, yeah, she's actually getting her own personality now, just being her own person, and I just like her relationship with RWBY. There's not, like I said, one of the worst things about the show is even though they do great one-on-one scenes, they're so shit at actually building any sort of actual one-on-one character relationships, and the one with Penny and RWBY just feels natural. So I like her. And I honestly loved that I did feel gut punch when they made her a real girl and she didn't get to go outside. She got to be a real girl in the void, and then they fucking killed her. As somebody who wanted the show to really thing, that was exactly what I wanted. We got there in the worst way possible, that volume, but you know what? That's something I actually wanted. So this is not an objective ranking here. My top.
Oh, I was going to say, the reason why I almost had her on my list is because she fills such a very specific and unique niche within the story. Like, there's not really anyone like Penny. You can't just like take her out and replace her with one of the other characters. Like a big thing that leads to character bloat, and the reason why character bloat is such a problem is because so many characters are superfluous. Like you can literally cut out the entire Aesops and literally just have it be Clover or be Winter, and just have them do all the Aesops things, and that would be it. That would be fine. But with Penny, like the fact that she's an android, the fact that she's the one who kind of keeps the maiden powers throughout Volume 8, the fact that she is supposed to be this like guardian mantle, and she's kind of torn between wanting to fulfill that kind of like that personality, and debating whether that is her actual personality or if it's just part of her programming to protect Mantle, and then being torn between that and her loyalties to Ironwood and Atlas. Like that's all interesting stuff, but the reason why she didn't end up making the cut is because I do feel like they do just the bare minimum. She's not in the show enough during her second appearance. It's only 2 volumes, really, and only one of them is her with the maiden powers before they kill her off again. And like I like the way that they execute a lot of that stuff, but in terms of like the uniqueness of her and the thematic ground of like, what does it mean to have a soul? What is a soul in this world? How do you make a soul? How is a soul artificial? Like, obviously, it's not like 100% artificial because it comes from Pietro shaving off some of his aura. How does that work? There's so many other questions that her existence kind of brings up that kind of just either get paid lip service to or don't really get addressed at all. In fact, like Volume 9, I think does a better job of exploring those ideas, and Penny isn't really in the volume, just one of her swords is. And so that's what ultimately ended up keeping her off my list.
Yeah, I put her. Now, to be fair, she is the top of my bottom, but I couldn't get over the fact that they just wind up using her for shock value not once but twice. It just, while that's not,
and it just does not work the first time.
Yeah, no, in fairness, it really doesn't work the first time.
Yeah, and to be fair, maybe I shouldn't have put her there because that's not really so much about her being bad. I do like her character, but I don't like the way it's used, and I kind of blended that together in a lot of the
That's fair.
in a lot of my rankings, I guess. So I guess it's more on the plot end of her.
Well, and
But
it's hard to separate. It's hard to separate the two because a character is so much defined by their actions, even their personality is like that. We know that they are this kind of person because they do this sort of thing.
Well, I like Penny. Penny, I like because her actions all make sense for the character that they give her. Right? She's actually a consistent character, which is one of the biggest problems with the show. Is
Consistency.
There's the lack of consistency. I mean, you're going to see my number 1 character is going to be number 1 because she's basically the most consistent. Sorry, a spoiler. Well, there's mostly girls anyway.
Yeah, I mean that's
you guys probably know who it is.
And like, I mean, same thing. Like, most of my top 10 list is going to be characters that don't actually have a whole lot of screen time.
Okay, who's your number 5?
So, I labored for hours trying to narrow it down to a bottom 5. And after much deliberation, I ended up going with Hazel Reinhardt for my bottom 5 because this guy is such a fucking dumbass. He's like, you want to talk about characterizations and motivations that just make no fucking sense. This dude worked for Salem for presumably decades and never once thought like, hey, maybe my sister like volunteered for a dangerous job. You know, like it's not like a secret that every huntsman and huntress in history like dies, and like none of them, hardly any of them ever live to see an old age, and the ones that do only live to see an old age because they become fucking teachers.
It's literally the Nora complaining about only being good at hitting things all over again. Like, it's your job, dude.
It's
Hazel, it was your Hazel, it was your sister's job, dude.
And the fact that works kind of pisses me off. Like, the fact that Oscar manages to get through to him is like, yeah, man, Ozpin is not on my shit list. He is not on my bottom 5. But Hazel does kind of make me want to put him on here again. Like, Ozpin was one of the ones that were in my bottom, like, 10. When I was really, like, trying to narrow it down. Because, like, he never thought about this.
He was today years old when he was in his 40s.
Oscar's the one who has to, like, come up with that plan to turn Salem's henchmen against each other, and he uses, like, the lowest of low-hanging fruits.
See, I never really thought much about Hazel because he doesn't show up all that often, not really, like, just a couple of times, and just to be intimidating. It seems like, although they really did drop the ball hard with that on that end. From
Yeah.
now that I remember what his backstory is, but
and then they just have him get jumped the fuck out of in Volume 5 off screen.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, Hazel shows up to like help out and like to help out and menace Oscar, and then gets turned to the good side by by Oscar. It's, oh god, I remember, it's all coming back to me, and I'm like, man.
I feel like probably you could, a better thing to do with him would have just been to never have done anything with him and just kept him like silent and stuff, and also maybe have somebody else know why it is he is doing this stuff, but be reticent to reveal it, and then eventually they reveal it on his behalf. They tell the dark story behind him, and it would also have to be a completely different story. But if that's the sort of thing that I would expect of a large, menacing, silent, brutish character.
Like, someone with Hazel's backstory could work if this was, like, a legitimate rogues gallery and he wasn't working for fucking Salem.
Yeah, if he was just like a random, if he was a freak of the week,
if he was just a random dude who had a grudge against Ozpin and wanted to take down, like, anybody who works closely with Ozpin, like if he was someone who was just, like, going after Crow and Glinda and Team RWBY just to try to, like, get back at Ozpin for that, for some, like, slight or whatever, it could work. It would still be kind of a lame motivation if they keep anything about his motivation the same, but it would at least like make more sense that someone with that motivation would do those sorts of things if he wasn't working for Salem.
Yeah.
Hazel would be a more interesting character if he did what Rooster Teeth, what Adult Swim's Bane does to Batman in multiple bits, where he just shows up out of enters left screen, breaks Batman's back, and then leaves right screen. Like, that's just all he does. Like, oh, it's on you, Ozpin person? It's like, oh, I'll just break their back real quick, and then just leaves. Like, he would be a more, like, entertaining character if he just shows up and ruins the day and then leaves. But no, that's not the case.
Hazel, he's not on my list because he is bad, as media said, but he's not on my screen enough to annoy me more. All the other characters here are on my screen enough to annoy me a lot more. So so my next one, so number 4 for me, number 4th worst, is Iron Daddy, James Ironwood.
He was almost on both my lists.
Yeah, that's in fairness, that's exactly the thing. Is if it was Ironwood before the last episode or 2 from Volume 7, he probably would have been in Penny's spot. Actually, he might have been number 2 or even number 1 actually at that point. And that's why he's actually a little bit worse than Nora, because he was better than Nora. And then he was assassinated even worse than Nora. Nora has the second worst character assassination in the whole show. Right? because here's the thing, like a lot of the other worst characters that we're going to talk about weren't assassinated. They were all already bad or never great in the first place, right? Nora was pretty great, or at least solid, and then made better, and then made worse. Ironwood was pretty good at the beginning, got better and better and better and better. Volume 7, he was fucking awesome. I fucking loved Ironwood in Volume 7. And then at the end of Volume 7, just like they just fucking flipped a switch. Like, Ironwood was so consistently characterized as probably the most complex character in the entire show throughout most of the show's run. In that, yes, he is clearly quite authoritarian. He thinks might makes right. He is very much militaristic, but he is clearly doing all of that for what he believes is the right reason. It is not like somebody who is being selfish and greedy. Like, he genuinely holds two seats on the council because it's very clear he genuinely believes that he knows better, and it's not for himself. Because you see the shit he goes through. I do like that they do that with him when they show that he's already half robot. Clearly, fucking dude's already been through it for saving people. Because he never does anything for his own benefit. It's not like he lives in some fucking castle. It's not like he has nice shit. He just has all the nice shit he has.
He literally gives no fucks that he's being framed for the murders at the beginning of Volume 7. He's like, I don't care what people say about me. I don't care what my reputation is. I'm gonna stay the course.
Yeah. I don't matter. It's like, dude, you have to respect that. And again, with what they do with him later, you have to think the writers did not understand that that's actually a good thing. They probably thought that was bad, maybe, because that actually makes him really sympathetic and really interesting. It's like, whoa, nobody in the real world who is that militaristic and that authoritarian is ever that good of a person, ever. It's just not, it does not exist, right? But that's interesting that he is like that. I love that. And that fact that he sacrifices his other arm just to do the right thing and for everybody else, not for him, not for glory. He never calls attention to it. You notice that, right? Never fucking calls attention to it. Literally gets another fake arm. And he never mentions it, right? It's not about that. And I love that. It's fucking awesome. And then they just turn him into a psychopath at like the drop of a hat. Like, it is literally like a switch. And it's the same thing with Nora. It is like there are one character 1 second, and then the next episode or the next moment, they literally switch from a great character to an awful character. It is unbelievable. And they do that within the space of like 4 episodes with both of them, by the way. It is insane how they can manage to assassinate 2 characters that quickly in almost the exact same way. It's nuts. And then they do it even worse with Ironwood. His is even worse because like they just make him such a psychopath. Like the scene where he literally just walks out from Winter's hospital room and just shoots the fucking council member. What? Because the guy is talking too loudly? I mean, Jesus Christ, that is... I don't even know if Stalin ever did anything. That, he probably did, but...
I don't know. It was pretty based, in my opinion. Yeah. I remember just being like, based. But,
shooting politicians is never bad.
Okay, but you guys know what I'm saying.
Don't quote me on that. I don't actually believe that. That was
I am very high, drunk, mentally ill, and on drugs right now, FBI.
Look, I'm.
But you get what I'm saying. Like it's, and then he stays like that. God, they could have been so interesting. And again, and then the other thing about it is it all goes back. Not only is he probably the most complex character, it all goes back to the same thing, the same problem with Nora too, the same problem with a lot of the other characters I'm going to bring up. The writers cannot allow their main characters to ever be wrong, which is one of the things that makes Volume 9 so good for a while, big asterisk. But Nora is not allowed to be wrong, even though anybody with a brain can tell she's wrong. Ironwood, at this point now, is wrong. But before that, he was probably more right than Ruby and her team. And the writers cannot accept that. Their girls must be right, no matter what. So even though Ruby is wrong for hiding things from Ironwood, she's hiding the lamp from him. That is wrong. The idea of all of that is very fascinating if they actually explored that. But they don't. It's just, no, Ruby's right. Team Ruby is right. Ironwood is wrong. The Aesops are wrong. There's no room for subtlety or gray areas. Imagine if they wrote that Volume 8 with the idea of Ironwood might be right, Ruby might be right, and they still go their separate ways. Could you imagine how much more interesting that would be?
Yeah, if Ironwood was like, do whatever you want, you're not getting any help from me, and then the only reason why he like comes after them is because of Penny.
Mm-hmm. Be so much more interesting. I mean, that's one of the best things about Andor, which is still one of the best things I've ever watched. It is so fucking good. And part of it is that some of the people on the Rebel side are not good people. There's a lot of gray area in Andor as a show, and that's what makes it good. Complexity is done well can be great. And
just remember, the real
I
red
would
pill
coulda
of the
had that,
Second
so.
World War is that there were good guys and bad guys on both sides of the war.
Not the German side, or the Japanese side. But yes, we did do some stuff. We did a lot. We did some war crimes. We did some war crimes. There's no good on the German or Japanese side, but there's definitely bad on the Ally side.
I think the as far as like I don't necessarily know that RWBY should have ever bothered trying to do anything gray, like the whole gray thing with RWBY. I think it just doesn't fit the vibe. Like, it seems to me like you got to have like pure evil versus pure good in a show about monsters made out of pure dark evil stuff versus heroic girls with cool weapons. Like, and I think it was probably, this, it might be hindsight being 2020, but I think that whole idea was kind of doomed from the start, and that's probably why they
Well, they pay all this lip service to complicated ideas and complicated like morality and stuff, but they don't really fully explore it. And like you said, like so much of it is undercut by the fact that the Grimm exist. Like, why is there faunist racism when the Grimm should be a unifying threat? Why does it matter that why is everyone freaking out over Penny being a robot when like shouldn't they be more relieved that you basically have an assembly a potential assembly line of soldiers who are going to fight these ever-present monsters instead of your son and daughter? Like, so many of the themes just don't work because of the world that RWBY exists in. Like, they would work in a more grounded setting or a setting where just the Grimm didn't exist. But then the Grimm are just so intrinsic to RWBY's like aesthetic like identity and stuff that you can't just remove them.
Anyway, who's next? Who's got their next
Yeah,
thing?
who's your fourth worst or whatever?
Okay. Me, I put for my fourth worst, Crow as being fourth worst. Because Crow, he is like they oversold him at first and then went on to just like really kick him in the balls super hard as many times as they possibly could, to the point where he was not nearly as impressive as when he first showed up. Like, if you think about him coming along and beating Winter while he was like already drunk and stuff, that's cool as shit.
Yeah, as an alcoholic, that's based.
That's
It
like
is, yeah, it is the best, one of the best favorite things. I'm drinking right now.
that's like that's the sort of thing that you would expect as being like kind of a cool introductory scene for like an anime protag mentor figure, which they seemed like they were kind of going to do with him, but there were a couple of problems with that. First, they didn't do it. Second, had they, what would he have done? Because like everybody already knows how to fight super well and there is no training involved, and every time they've attempted to involve it, it doesn't really work out that great, because you think back to Volume 1 and how everybody was already at the peak of physical condition. And you're like, okay, well, is this necessary? No, not really. So he's sort of just there to uh, kind of exposit things And then after he does that, he's not really there for any reason at all. So they try to like eke some drama out of him with Clover and stuff, which it may have also worked had it been with anybody else, because Clover is boring as shit and nobody gives a rat's ass about him. And not only that, but Crow also had other people that he had previously established relations with that they could have maybe done something with him being alongside, like you got
Like
Ty.
Ruby or Yang, for example, one of the main
Yeah,
fucking characters.
Yeah, Ruby or Yang. You got, and if you want somebody older, you got Ty and Raven. Presumably have some sort of dynamic with Crow that never really comes about in the show, even though you would think they would. Like they don't. He's just he is rendered purposeless very early on, to the point where you're like thinking, why did they even bring him in the first place? Uh, and it does especially kind of jar me if I think about like what would be like a cool inverse of uh Crow that worked out well. I think of like Jiraiya from Naruto, who showed up kind of being like a funny guy who was initially introduced as a joke, only to reveal how cool and badass he actually was later on, and go out on like one of the coolest fight scenes in the entire thing, you know? So it's almost the exact inverse line of uh does this guy start off cool and then become a really lame, or does he start off lame and then become really cool and get revealed as that? That's it would be like a graph with two diagonal lines in opposite directions for me if
Yep,
I were to
that is
compare
true.
those two. So that's kind of what I get out of Crow. And they didn't have to like kneecap him. I feel like they
No, they didn't.
had, yeah, they
No, they didn't. You're right. He was in my top. He was very high on my list the first time we did this after Volume 4. Very high. But
yeah
he's another one that almost made my bottom 5. He didn't, but he almost did, because he does get kneecapped like crazy. He gets so lame, and he was so cool in Volume 3. Fucking loved him in Volume 3. Holy shit, that winter fight scene is still just fun, right?
Yeah, well, because like with
And the other thing is, and the worst
Crow's.
thing about Crow, let me just, this is the last thing I'll say about him. I
Oh
won't take
yeah,
long.
yeah, no, you're good.
He is just part of the problem of the show of he takes away agency from the main characters, because they just listen to him so much, and just having another adult around is the biggest problem. And I'll talk about that with another character on my bottom 5. Crow almost made it mainly for that reason. It's like, guys, you do realize like one of the best things about Avatar: The Last Airbender, which is one of the greatest TV shows of all time period, is there's never an adult leading the kids. They get help from adults individually along the way, but they do everything else themselves the entire fucking time. That is what makes the show.
That was the same reason why the creators of the 2003 Teen Titans cartoon refused to have it cross over with Justice League. They were going on at the exact same time, and the people who were making Teen Titans were like, "No, we're not even going to mention Batman by name. The only allusion to Batman in that entire series is Robin being like, 'I already have a father,' and then it cuts to Wayne Enterprise as he's robbing Wayne Enterprise." That is at the end of season 1, and it's the only allusion to anything Batman related in that entire series. So Crow is almost on my top 10, mostly because I find him mostly just inoffensive. As boring and tedious as he is in the more recent volumes, he had enough goodwill to like make my top 15. But like, recency bias, yeah, like he's just such a drag in the Atlas saga. Like, what the?
He really
Why
did
is he even
become a
still
worse.
here?
He really
Like,
did
why-
become
why
a worse
didn't he
character when he
stay
quit
be-
drinking.
Why didn't
He should have
he
stayed
just stay
alcoholic.
behind? Yeah, he should have stayed behind in Haven. Like, he should have seen the girls off to Atlas and given them like his credentials or whatever. Which Oscar having Osmond's cane should already be enough credentials for Ironwood. And then like help like rebuild, maybe even become the new Haven headmaster. I don't know, just something.
That would have been great.
So,
Yeah, no, that
something
would've
something
been
to
awesome.
take him like off the table, because like he doesn't do much. They keep trying to stoke up this rivalry between him and Tyrion, which is that I think is the one of the things that leads into your complaint, dude, which is the it takes away agency from the other characters. I never felt like Crow took away agency from the main characters, mostly because like he's in the background of Volume 4, and then he gets sick, and then he's kind of off doing his own thing throughout most of Volume 5, and then Volume 6 he's letting Ruby take the lead. So I never thought he took away their agency in those volumes, but Tyrion, who is not on any of my lists, had this kind of moment with Jean in Volume 4 that they have never followed up on. Jean, nor like nobody else has ever nobody in the main cast has ran into Tyrion again. Ruby saw him for a second in Volume 7, and that is it. Nobody in Team Ranger, nobody else in Team Ruby. Like, I kind of want to just do a video like an aside on my own time, where I just list off like all the things that they've never like followed through on, or never like the first thing that pops into my head all the time is that Yang has never gotten a run back against Neo.
What did I say about
And never
interesting
will.
one-on-one? What did I say about interesting one-on-one character interactions that they never follow up on?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
it
that's
does happen.
Dude, as he's pointing at the sign.
Yeah, tap sign with my alcohol, with my glass of scotch.
So my number 4 bottom pick is Crow's twin sister Raven.
Aha!
For a lot of
Yeah.
the same reasons.
Oh God.
I was so excited for this character in Volume 4. This is the most disappointing character in the entire series. Like, this is the one that hurts me the most. Overall, it's just not as offensive, because it is kind of like just segregated into Volume 5. And like a lot of things with Volume 5, it kind of gets lost in the shuffle of how bad everything is in Volume 5. But, like, this is a character that had, like, nuance and intrigue, a mystery surrounding them, and this, like, oh, she's just a selfish bandit.
Thousands upon thousands of chapters of fan fiction was written about her, and you accounted for.
She was, like, the focal point of Ruby on Vale.
I mean, she has a lot of things about her that kind of never kind of got cashed in on. I guess you know, she was. Mm, I wonder if she was really oversold, or if the writers didn't understand what they were trying to sell there. Like,
Probably number 2, because that sounds like 3/4 of the cast of the show.
because they didn't really talk about her that much, save that it was Yang's goal to find her. However, that worked out, and then they did have that one scene where she did show up that was later decanonized. And I forget. Did they say that was like just a dream?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Volume 2 stinger.
If my number 2 theorem is correct, it is that they didn't understand the draw of Mystique, and the fact
Well,
that
clearly they don't do that, because they got rid of all the mystique with Blake, who was supposed to be their mysterious character, before they got rid of the mystique of any other character.
Yeah, so the main reason why Raven isn't higher on my shit list is because of the last episode of Volume 9, which added in a little bit of much needed pathos to the character. Like, oh, she was there for Summer Rose's last mission. That would have been nice to, like, hint at.
Anytime
Yeah.
before.
She also has one really good scene that is going to be in the next podcast we do. Yes, I am going to keep teasing for that podcast, because I'm really fucking excited for it. She has a scene that I'm going to talk about in that one. So
She does also have one of the better fights, in my opinion. I did enjoy the Raven versus Cinder fight. I thought it was fun. It's a shame Cinder didn't survive that fight, but that's just me.
So you mean it's a shame that she did?
Yeah.
So I kind of hate that on the principle of like same thing with Crow. It like robs the characters of their agency because like Raven's not one of the good guys. She's not part of the squad. She's just it kind of that Raven's whole plan in Volume 5 was fucking stupid. Like almost as bad as Hazel's motivation. Like her whole deal is that like she wants to get as far away from Salem as possible. She doesn't want to be involved with Osmond. She doesn't want to be involved with her kids, with her kids singular. She doesn't want to be involved with RWBY because she knows RWBY's going to just do the same thing Summer did. Blah 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 blah. But then she tries to steal the Relic of Knowledge and paint this massive target on her back. Like if it was the Relic of Destruction, you know, something that can maybe like keep Salem at bay, maybe then I could kind of see it. But like, why? Like, there's just no real reason for her to do the things she does in the last third of Volume 5. The character motivations just don't make any sense.
Yeah. Raven didn't make my list, but also I will give the hot take here that I did not like the fight scene between her and Cinder. I thought it was like it was too overtuned. It looked like some Dragon Ball shit. I was like, nah, fuck this. This is not what I'm about here. Like,
so dude, you ready for your number 3?
Okay.
Your bronze medalist of Schittsburg?
It's medalist, yeah. Honestly, I can't even pick between these two. Do you mind if I just do my number 3 and number 2 worst together?
Just shoot. Go ahead.
Okay.
Who cares? No one's watching this.
Yeah, it's Blake and Yang. Okay? And keep in mind, this is coming from a fucking Bumblebee shipper, okay? Since Volume 3, at least, I was a Bumblebee shipper.
You can't talk about one without talking about the other.
Well, hey, what a shocker. My third is also Yang.
Holy shit. Okay. Is Blake in your bottom 5 or not?
No. Okay, so
Whoa.
here's why Blake didn't make my bottom 5.
You go first and then I'll go. Yeah, you go first.
Here's why Blake didn't, because, man, I thought about it. I thought about putting her at number 1, just out of principle. But looking back on it again, there's a little recency bias here. She hasn't really pissed me off since Volume 5. And she's at least done things since then that I kinda dig. Like, I kinda dig the arc with her and Yang in Volume 6. I kinda dig the fact that she did go with RWBY in Volume 8. I dig most of, like, she doesn't really get a whole lot to do in Volume 9, but I dig that she's there. She says things that of importance. She's the one who figures out where they're at. Gotta give her credit for that. She's funny in Volume 9, kinda. Like, she doesn't really do anything offensive to me in Volume 9, is what I'm trying to say. And that helped a lot of her goodwill.
Yeah.
And this may also be influenced by the fact that I am reading the manga. I actually just finished Viz's 3-volume run on the RWBY manga, where they mix up a lot of events and smooth over some plot lines. They streamline some stuff, and it makes Blake's entire deal come off a lot better for those early arcs. But Yang is a character that should be in my top 5. Should be. She's the character who got me into the show. It was her backstory that made me a fan. But then they just don't explore that. They don't explore her dynamic with RWBY. They only pay lip service to it in Volume 8, and that's it. This is why, like, my biggest expectation for Volume 10 is that, like, they need to fix Yang. They need to fucking, like, fix what is wrong with her. Like, and the more I look back on it, the more I revisit these other interpretations of those early volumes, the more I'm like, Yang's just kind of there. And she shouldn't just be kind of there. She's one of the 4 main characters. She's so influential to RWBY's entire motivation. that's at least what they say, but they never really portray that well. And I just feel like they just don't know what the fuck to do with her. They haven't given her a real meaningful arc since her depression arc. I just said that I liked the stuff with her and Blake in Volume 6. That was a plot line or a character arc for Blake. Yang didn't change in that span of time. It was Blake who had to make the change. And then, even before that, with Volume 5, her and Raven are just a spiraling shitsburg of bad writing in the back half of Volume 5. And then after that, she is just so far up Blake's ass. She just doesn't do anything divorced from Blake. Everything is all about her and Blake, to the detriment of all of her other dynamics. There's very real debate on whether or not Yang is a bad sibling. And I think the debate is kind of dumb because not every sibling is going to be a good sibling, blah 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 blah. Being a bad sibling can also be a character trait, but there's so much that happens that is contradictory to what they say in the show and behind the scenes stuff. And yeah, there's a reason why so many people are upset with her. There's a reason why so many people blame her for Ruby's crash out more than any of the other characters, because she should know better. She should know what it's like, what it looks like when Ruby is bottling things up. Weiss and Blake have never seen Ruby down in the dumps, really. They don't know what it looks like. They don't know the signs. I've said before, to Yang's credit, she at least tries, but then gets distracted by the plot. But that's not something you just put on the back burner.
Weiss tries harder than Blake. I just watched Volume.
You mean
Sorry,
Yang?
yeah. Weiss tries harder than
I have to revisit. So Yang does try, but that's not something you just put on the back burner. That's something that as soon as the crisis is over, whenever next time you have downtime, you need to follow through with that. And then she just doesn't.
Or should I say Weiss notices more than Yang does, I guess.
Weiss realizes and learns the lesson a lot better after the crash.
That's what I should have said.
Yeah.
And she also notices a bit more
Weiss,
before.
Weiss is, and it's probably because Weiss has felt the burden of people's expectations all her life as a Schnee. And so when Ruby does have that crash out, she instantly understands, oh. And because of her promise of being the best teammate Ruby will ever have, blah, 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 that from Volume 1, she feels guilty, and that's why she's the one who identified. Why is Weiss the one who identifies it? Yes, it fits her character, and it fits her role with Ruby, but why doesn't Yang realize that same thing? I don't get it. I don't get why they keep fumbling with Yang as a character and as a part of the team. Why is this person who has such, on paper, interesting dynamics with all three girls, but why does she feel like the fourth wheel? Why does she feel like the most undercooked member of the team?
Okay, my turn? Can I go on my two now?
Yes.
Okay, and the reason why is because she was the last character added to the main four. She was not originally part of the concept. It was they just had red, white, and black. Monty only had those three, and Yang was the last one added. So
was he going to call it RWBY originally?
I don't know, but he only had three characters originally, and then he wanted to add a fourth to make it, I guess, more balanced or something. I forget exactly the logic, but Yang was the one that was added later. So I do think it kind of makes sense knowing that she always feels like the one that they don't know what they're doing with her.
Well, that's a pretty lame excuse, and because it's been 9 volumes, figure it out.
Oh yeah, I agree with that.
I'm gonna cite One Piece here. The whole cast of the supernovas, the 8 other characters in Saba Odi who get introduced in the Saba Odi arc who have $100 million or more bounty. They're all made up literally at the last minute. And they're all, with the exception of Arouge, because he just hasn't come back in yet, they're all, super important to later story arcs. And in fact, 2 of them, Trafalgar Law and Jewelry Bonnie, are 2 of, the most important and fan-favorite characters in the entire series. And they were last-minute additions, 10 years in to the story. So, the whole she was the last one made, like that's maybe an excuse for Volume 1 not giving her much to do, but it is a very lame excuse the further we get
so
into
let me finish answering. Which is the other reason, and the bigger reason is because it goes back to what I've been saying, and this is what I truly realized this watch around on the show, is that two main problems with this show are the characters not having three, I guess. The characters not having agency, the main characters never being allowed to be wrong, and that's the problem with Blake. I'll get to that. And the fact that they cannot commit to building actual relationships in this show for better, or for whether they're exploring a relationship in a positive way or exploring a relationship in a more negative way. Now, it's mainly exploring a relationship in a more positive way. They can't do that. They just cannot commit to building up a one-on-one relationship, whether it's a friendship or a romance. This fucking crew of writers just cannot do that. And that is why Yang is the biggest victim, is because she's really clearly not meant to be like the lead in anything, even though she's got the big personality. She's clearly meant to be like a very supportive kind of role, right? Like that, she's supposed to be a support for Ruby, really. She's supposed to be, she acts as a support for Blake, right? Like Blake really is actually kind of more the lead in that relationship, honestly. And so that makes her even worse off for that reason. I think the thing is with Yang, and again, she had higher highs. Again, Nora was kind of the bar, right? Of like who got into this bottom 5, right? Character that started off good, got ruined, right? Nora got more assassinated than Yang in a moment, but Yang has been worse overall for the show. Yang was fantastic in Volume 4. That arc was so good. I would say it's, in terms of arcs the character has got, it's probably the second best arc in the entire show, which was also in Volume 4, by the way, why Volume 4 was so good. But then after that, she just tried to get in Blake's pants for the rest of the fucking show after that. Like, that's literally all she's done since then. She was actually, Yang was, in fairness, decent at the beginning of Volume 5. That bar fight scene when she's looking for Raven, but it turns out the only reason she's looking for Raven is so she can get to Ruby. I know the logic's a little dumb, but, you know, it's RWBY. This is the show. We'll let that go. I don't mind those motivations, at least. Yeah, Yang just gets... I think the biggest reason that I have her on this list, because I don't hate her that much. What pisses me off is that she's supposed to be Ruby's sister, and they feel that they're like estranged roommates that grab a drink every once in a while, and then they say they'll hang out with everybody again, and then they don't. That's what RWBY and Yang feel like. And it's insane. And this is just... It is honestly even worse than Nora, that like this show cannot commit to any sort of relationship whatsoever. Look, I get that sibling relationships can fall apart, right? Like I literally just went, well, not just, but I've been through the situation where like I let a sibling relationship go by the wayside. And now I have rekindled that relationship. So maybe this is a little more personal for me right now, right? But it's like, I was never right next to the person the whole fucking time when the relationship wasn't going well. You know what I mean? Yang is right next to RWBY this entire fucking time, and she can't just be a goddamn sister to her? What the fuck? And then there's the fact that she does like a bunch of dumb stuff. Like, it should not be her that goes against betrays Ironwood to Robin Hill. Why is that Yang doing that? That does not make any fucking sense. She's such a fucking hypocrite. In Volume 7 and 8, she is the most nothing character of all the characters in Volume 9. Like, she definitely is the most nothing one. Like, at least Blake is kind of, like, charming a little bit, actually, somehow. I don't know how they did it. But, like, she actually has some interesting lines, and yes, they get together, but it's like, I fucking love... I was a Bumblebee shipper, and there was some good stuff for them. They've had some good moments. I still like the Adam versus... Yang and Blake fight. I do think that one scene was well executed. I actually think their scene at the beginning of the Apathy arc was really good. It would have been nice if they gave them more than just that one scene before the Adam fight. Holy shit, writers. How the fuck do you start off with something that's actually pretty good, and then you just don't do anything, and then it's like, oh, it's solved now. Again, cannot commit to relationships whatsoever. And Blake's on here too. Her issues more stem from, and I have her lower because honestly, I dislike her less more recently. So recency bias. I even said it in our chat. I don't even hate Blake anymore. But if I think back to how much I fucking hated her before, that's why she's on this list, because no character has ever. Well, maybe number one.
She was pretty insufferable during the
She was
Yuri arc.
so bad in Volume 4. Oh my god, like that volume. If they had gotten rid of the Blake arc in Volume 4, how great would Volume 4 have been? Like, it would have been not even close. It would have been so far and away the best volume of RWBY ever if they just didn't have Blake in it or fixed it. Either way, but she's so insufferable. Like, guys. She's supposed to be the mysterious one. She's supposed to be the downtrodden one. She's the one we're supposed to be feeling sorry for. Why do we get more of her backstory than anybody else's first? That ruins the mystery. And also, more importantly, if she's supposed to be the downtrodden, oppressed, discriminated character, that works. That's a simple character idea. It can work. Why is she the princess of the Faunus? Why does she have the biggest house in all of Menagerie? Why are her parents the most powerful? How are we supposed to feel sorry for her when her parents have the best on-screen relationship in the entire show? They have the healthiest relationship in the entire show. How are we supposed to feel sorry for Blake? Also, while she has Sun, who's like being like one of the best emotional support characters in the show also, and then she's just treating him like garbage the entire time. What the fuck? Like, Blake in Volume 4 is just unbelievably bad. That's the thing is, like, the writers just didn't understand how bad she was. They really thought we were supposed to sympathize with her when they were making her the most unsympathetic character possible. And it's not like the base ingredients couldn't have worked for that. They absolutely could have. You know, she's the girl you had a crush on in high school who worked at your local Hot Topic. You know, she listens to way too much My Chemical Romance. I get it. Okay? But like, you got to follow through with that stuff. If, there's a reason why dead parent character tropes are a trope. It works. And everybody gets away with it. Nobody complains when you have a dead parent. You notice that? Nobody ever complains. All the stuff people hate about Harry Potter, nobody cares about the fact that his parents are dead, because it works. It's just, that's a freebie. Just give them dead parents. Naruto, nobody cares. Edward Elric, well, kind of, nobody cares, right? Nobody minds when you give someone a dead parent or two. It always works. It's a foolproof plan. Giving Blake the best
just
parents
kill parents, dude. What the heck? 2025.
What? Kill? Who's watched Yu-Gi-Oh! Abridged? Kill your family. Kill your family. Kill your family.
I'm not really against the idea of having living parents. I think they should probably be given to characters that doesn't like interfere with, though.
Yeah,
like,
no. It's again. Callie, dude. I fucking love Callie. Okay, Callie Milfadonna for president. Okay, but she shouldn't be Blake's parent if they're gonna give Blake that backstory, right? And then now, and the other thing with the difference is that why Yang is slightly less bad is because when Yang is good, Yang is great, right? When she's bad, she's awful, right? But Yang has been good. Blake has rarely been like actually good. She's either been awful and then she just gets less offensive, and now she's just Blake's girlfriend. Which I'm glad they finally committed to a relationship, by the way. I'm still happy that Bumblebee happened. Looking back on it, even though I'm still a Bumblebee shipper, writing-wise, Black Sun would have been better. Even if they confirmed it and then have Yang become Edge and they break up, fine, whatever. They should have confirmed it. It makes no sense for Sun to just say they flirt with Blake for 5 volumes and then be like, oh, literally he tells Neptune, quote, it was never about that. Fucking bullshit. You guys are so fucking stupid writers. Do you really think we're gonna buy that shit? We're men. We understand how men think, okay? Miles, we know Miles doesn't actually think that way. So
Sun was
anyway,
just in it for the love of the game, dude. He didn't want to actually pick up the chick. He just wanted to flirt. It's all about the flirting with him.
That whole thing actually fits a lot better with the way he's written in the manga, which his motivation for like helping Blake isn't that she's a cute fondness, is that like, oh, I just don't like seeing people who are gloomy. I see a gloomy person, I just want to do everything I can to help him out.
Sun is just a male manic pixie dream girl.
he
Yeah.
is.
Oh my
That's
god, he
shredded.
is.
He's
Yeah,
just
I-
shredded.
Which ordinarily, if you wanted to like appeal to a female audience, that would have been the guy you would go with.
Whoa,
Like,
whoa, whoa, hold up a second there, Coop. Sun isn't a rapist. He wouldn't appeal to the female romanticy audience.
you really think that a guy with a monkey tail and animal features wouldn't rape a chick? I mean, have you read Brutish Minotaur 2? It's an extremely in-depth romance all about a woman being raped by a series of minotaurs. Some of them
What? Can we not?
I will bet money right now that Coop made that title off the top of his head.
I will bet you that he made the title up, but that story does exist out there.
you want to
I
give
can
it
I can link
Yeah,
y'all a
go ahead.
romanticy novel that is much more consensual, but involves minotaurs still.
Yeah, the
Am
whole
I right, Coop?
God.
Did you come up with that title off the top of your head?
Well, like I said, if you want to search it up, go ahead. Find out whether I'm right or wrong.
My browser history is bad enough. Thank you very much. I don't need to confuse it more. Okay. It knows
Browser
what
history is yours for the corrupting, but you have to search it first.
But yeah,
I've got my browser history nice and tamed right now. Okay, it knows what I'm about.
yeah. In terms of like the well, actually, that's a good place to transition into my number 3, which is Adam. My number 3 worst guy. Adam, I think Adam suffers a lot of the same stuff that kind of Raven and Crow do, in that they oversold them from the beginning and didn't realize they were doing that. And then when they actually brought them about, they were uh, not a completely different character because they didn't flesh out their character a whole lot, but their vibe uh, was very different from their later vibe in very bad ways.
I will say I think Adam is the least offensive out of those three, in my personal opinion.
He had the highest potential, though. I feel like that's the problem. I think.
Well, they do a lot of stuff with him that is, uh, it's sort of the later stuff kind of undercuts his prior things, like even the stuff that's like not directly mentioned. You look at this guy and the way he acts and what he does, and you are forced to wonder not why Blake left him, but why she was ever with him in the first place.
That is a big problem.
Like
That right there is the $2 million question.
like really, Blake, you didn't he was a good guy at some point in the past that we never see, and
Yeah.
he is that really his backstory that nobody ever else ever confirms, by the way, and doesn't really seem to line up with his current personality, which it's and his personality does actually kind of be differ a little bit. Like the first time he talks is of course during volume 3, when he just shows up to do the cool Iaido slash and walk off, and in that instance he's rather cold with a little bit of a simmering undertone of heatedness to his voice, and I think that makes him like kind of come off as a guy who, yes, he's angry, but he is capable of controlling that anger to some extent. Later volumes, volume 4 and so on, go on to just make him like a brutal psychopath with no real limit or control to himself, and it comes off as bad. It also seems to me like there are certain ways in which this could have been, they could have been more gradual in his descent to that, although that would probably have made him have to show up over a longer course of time. And I also don't like that they didn't make him the just like outright be the leader of the White Fang. Like he was actually like a second tier guy who had to kill the leader. Who
That is such a good
yeah,
point. I thought
yeah,
he was the leader of the White Fang until they introduced
yeah.
Sienna
Sienna,
Khan.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I genuinely thought he was. I
They
was like, what the fuck? Wait, he's not?
yeah.
Do y'all remember Sienna Khan? The
I
Root
mean,
Beyond podcast does.
fucking
And
great character design. God damn, Sienna Khan was hot as shit.
but she was literally only there to make Adam more evil, really. Like
And to
the
be hot.
yeah, and that. But she was. I feel like her. This is kind of a tangent. It's not really about him. Her character specifically was kind of dumb itself. It's like, yes, I am the head of a terrorist organization, but I'm kind of a moderate, like I don't want to be as much of a terrorist as all my terrorist underlings probably do,
And she's
because
supposed to be more extreme than Gira. Like Gira was the head when it wasn't a terrorist organization. It was when it was just like a social, like a social justice movement. What would I call it? It's not that. It's like it's a fucking
protest.
term.
I don't
Yeah,
know what
protest
exactly it
movement,
is.
something like that. When it's like actually good intentions for the right reasons and everything. So she's supposed to be the more extreme version, and she doesn't really feel that much more extreme. You're totally right about that.
The Sienna thing was kind of just put in there to show off that Adam was super evil, even more evil than her. If anything, I think they probably actually could have just reworked her a little bit. If Adam's deal was that he was like saying to his guys that Sienna was not extreme enough, then the natural reaction I think on Sienna's side would have been to say, no, actually, guys, I am totally extreme, and then have that be like the duking out between them. Which one of
Yeah.
us is actually the more terroristic terrorist? Yeah,
Well, that's whenever you have the Night of the Long Knives to purge the more radical elements of your domestic terrorist organization.
which clearly Sienna didn't do because
No, no,
everybody
because
did just kind of
no,
follow
what they
Adam.
should have done is exactly what you said, which is she said like, no, guys, I am actually that, I am actually that extreme. And then because she's actually fighting, Adam, who is Shadow the Hedgehog, Escape from the City plays in the background, and she starts running down the hill because she's Sonic.
Yeah, but it's I think, but that's kind of also getting off of Adam. Adam, he's got like another thing with him was that he did take control of an entire organization only to wind up just ditching all of them and not bringing his minions along to chase after people. Because presumably because Blake's little speech on the power of friendship converted more of them over to being,
Oh
well,
god,
not
yeah.
evil anymore. But the that itself was kind of also bad. I'm kind of like grouping Adam and the White Fang together almost
That's
in a weird
fair.
way as
I
a
mean, you're
character.
basically talking about a lot of the same things that we've already been complaining about. So you notice there's a trend with a lot of our complaints, right? Adam could have been an interesting character, but the writers just decided again, our main characters are right, everybody else is wrong. Adam can't be subtle in any way. He must be the most extra over the top hot topic Shadow the Hedgehog, My Chemical Romance listening fuckboy possible, like that it's ever possible to conceive, including probably one of the worst voice acting performances I've ever heard in my fucking life in his first appearances. I mean, the fucking cosplayer that they hired to play Cinder wasn't as bad when she started out. By the way, she actually kind of gets pretty decent by the end. Kudos to her for trying and actually improving at her craft when it's the Rooster Teeth's fault for ever hiring her in the first place. She actually got kind of good. But yeah, he was terrible. He just sounded like the biggest edgelord. Like, just sounded like a 14-year-old who writes about, stuff that I probably can't even say on this podcast in his math notebook, right?
Yeah.
And it's just, there's no subtlety. And that's the problem with Adam. So it's a lot of the same thing, right? Like, Ironwood can't be subtle. Nora can't be subtle. Yang can't be a sister. Adam cannot be a gray area character in any way. I understand, like, Coop, your point about you don't want to do too much gray area in a show like this, but clearly one of your main points with Adam is that he's just too fucking evil. It's too over the top. There's no subtlety whatsoever. It's got to be some sort of balance. And these writers just cannot do that.
Well, I'd be fine with that evilness if there was, like, at the very least, better reasoning behind it. Like,
Well, yeah, that's true. But again, it's always just our characters are right, everybody else is wrong. The problem is, this actually, God, I should have saved this for my worst moments, my worst scenes, but I don't. I'm not going to, because it's not even actually on the list. But this boils down everything wrong with the RWBY writers. They think the scene where Blake boils down all the main characters' personalities into one word is not problematic.
I was gonna say that when you were talking about Nora.
Yeah. They can't get past that. They think that scene makes sense because when Blake says, I thought Adam was justice," she's like, "But I was actually wrong." We're like, "Oh my God, she might learn subtlety." And she's like, "No, he was actually just this other one word." It's like, "Oh my God, kill me now!" Like, who is that stupid?
They are purposely flanderizing their own cast, and because, like, a lot of people have also noticed this about characters that we're probably gonna have in our top 5 best, where, like, they take away interesting character traits. They take away, like, things like their interest. Like, when was the last time Ruby geeked out about a weapon? When was the last time that Weiss sang? When was the last time that Blake... Actually, Blake, I think, gets away with it because they still do cat jokes with her.
When was the last time Yang was a party girl?
Literally the first few minutes of her trailer.
That was one of the things that pissed me off about Nora's so much, that she was saying, "Oh, I have a character smashing things and being funny." And you're saying you're the flat character? Are you kidding me? First of all, Weiss is the flat character. Second of all,
And flat is justice.
And flat is justice. And also, you're the character that actually has a couple of quirky character traits and that have actually been followed through on throughout the entire show. And you're saying you have nothing else? You writers, what the fuck is wrong with you? Did you forget that you dropped all the interesting character traits with all your other characters? Because you did. You even made Crow stop drinking. And by the way, as somebody who almost finished one bottle of wine throughout this podcast so far, Crow got a lot less interesting when he stopped drinking.
So I can get into my my number 2 pick now. Rooster Teeth should not ever
Fuck you.
do politics. My number 2 pick is Robin Hill. The reason why I think Volume 8 is a better volume than Volume 7, which is a hot take, because Volume 7 has a lot more better moments and a lot less character assassination. But the reason why I still have Volume 8 above Volume 7 is because there's less Robin Hill. Every single thing about this character, from her conception to her role in the plot to her personality to every single line of dialogue, is so bad that it makes me want to become more of a right-wing extremist than what people already think I am.
Yeah, and you have Coop and me on the podcast.
I'm gonna have to be the left-wing take on this in a second.
Because, like, it's very clear that they they wanted this to be like an allegory or something about the 2016 election. They do a lot of mixed messaging there because Ironwood is much more of a Trump figure. Honestly, I don't think either Trump or Jacques are a dead ringer for Trump. But as far as like the securing the border, gotta build a wall, make Salem pay for it.
Okay, the problem is now after 2024, the problem is that both Jacques and Ironwood, even after Ironwood goes insane, are still far more sane than Trump is right now. And I don't care how right wing you are; they are both way more sane than Trump is right now. So that's the other issue. Is that's why they don't work.
Jacques never came off as insane to me.
That's what I'm saying.
Came off as
he's just an asshole.
Stupid.
Yeah, he's just an asshole. He's not. Yeah, that's my point though. Is I'm saying they're both way more sane. That's the problem why that doesn't work, right?
But like Robin makes very little effort to bridge the gap. She's very much an extremist in the same way that Ironwood is, where like by the end of Volume 8, Ironwood is just all about Atlas and fuck Mantle, whereas Robin is from the get-go fuck Atlas, everything about Mantle, and because the writers just don't understand nuance or like how to make this sort of thing interesting. They try to portray Robin as like, oh no, she's right. That's why they have like Blake and Yang leak the plot to Robin, which is another reason why Yang is on my shit list. And then it all kind of comes to a head in Volume 7, Episode 12, with Friends Like These, where she is responsible for letting Tyrion loose in the airplane, causing the crash, which gets Clover killed, and gets Crow and her arrested, nearly kills all of them, by the way, all because Robin was upset that Ironwood didn't want to arrest her.
So as the only lefty on this podcast, I'm pretty positive, right? It's pretty safe to say I'm the only lefty on this.
I'm pretty far left wing, actually, dude. I believe that Stalin was right about all of it, and that the kulaks deserved it.
Okay, so anyway, with the Coop shitpost out of the way, it's funny that even most of like I think as far as I've seen, even the lefty RWBY tubers hate Robin, right? Nobody likes Robin. Even most, maybe I'm sure there's some lefty RWBY fans that like Robin, right?
I mean, I think she's hot, but that's about it.
Yeah, of course, that's true. But other than that, I'm pretty sure even I've not heard a single RWBY YouTuber not actively despise Robin. Because it's one of those things where it's like, I kind of talked about this with Blake too, right? I am the lefty here. Blake is everything wrong. Blake is everything even the takes the left in Volume 4, right? She's the person from the privileged Midwesterner with a trust fund that moves to Brooklyn and is gentrifying Brooklyn and yelling Black Lives Matter while raising the rent in a formerly black neighborhood. You know what I mean? Like, and buying matcha.
NIMBY. I got it. Okay.
Yes, exactly. So even the left hates people like that, right? If you're a sane leftist, there's sane there's sane right wingers. If you're a right winger and don't like Trump, then you're sane, right? If you're a sane left winger, then there's stuff that goes too far for you too. Obviously, there's sane people on both sides. But so Blake is the kind of person that even a proper lefty would hate. Robin is the same thing. That's the problem with the RWBY writers is they can't even do a proper person in their own fucking political worldview. Because, like, again, I'm the lefty here. I vote left. And I'm like, oh my God, Robin is such an idiot. Like, letting Tyrion go, it's like, guys, this is not how this works. Like, you're not making her sympathetic. You're making her stop.
Can we save the fight for after we've handed the psychopath into prison?
Yeah. Yes.
You see the smart thing.
Stopping the convoy thing too, the delivery. It's like, oh, what? Now you're doing like actual fucking like violent shit. Like, this is not something that's just for Ironwood. This is going to help everybody, including Mantle, and this is the thing that you're trying to stop. Like, have a brain, please. You're supposed to be the smart one, and you're not being the smart one. And then the other thing too, this is the worst thing they do about her, is she's supposed to be like for the people, but she clearly is just as much of a politician as a regular politician is. She's not actually any better really than Jacques in that sense. Like, no, she's not as bad as Jacques, but as a human being, right? But she's still really bad because she still does all the politics stuff. She still gets in bed with the other side. She compromises. She does all the stuff that if you're really in it for the right reasons, you're not supposed to be doing those things, then she does them anyway.
Oh, I mean, I think that my general opinion on Robin was I had forgotten she was in the show until you guys just mentioned her. It had been a long time since I watched that volume, and when you brought her up, I was like, oh yeah, the lady with the white hair. That's right, she was in there. And
You know what's bad, dude, is like I'm imagining you, but like it's I'm imagining you, but like you are Vosh, and I hate watching an episode like of a YouTube video that he put out about Ruby. Oh, and then I'm like, you know what, Vosh? It's like I agree with you. It's like she does suck. I hate
well,
that she's a good-looking character, but she does suck.
I mean, that's the thing, though, right? Like, again, if you look, media, if you anybody who's watched RWBY tubers have even the lefty RWBY tubers defended Robin. As far as I've seen, none of them have. They all hate her too.
Not to my
Yeah,
knowledge.
that's the thing. She's bad. It's not even about she's not even a left versus right debate. She is, to media's point, no matter your politics, she is absolute proof that Ruby should not do politics because she's hated by everybody. She's hated by right wingers and left wingers.
They're
It's
just
the same
so
thing with Blake.
bad at it.
It's the same thing with Blake. Like, do you know who hates of all the people I've seen hate Blake? You know who actually hates Blake even more than we do? Judgmental Critter hates Blake even more than we do. Nobody hates Blake more than she does. It's like, again, just further proof that, dude, you guys gotta, they can't do anything right.
who is Judgmental Critter?
She's another RWBY tuber
Okay.
that
Right.
I sometimes watch, and that dude
I
watches.
think she's the biggest one that mainly focuses on Ruby, if that's not mistaken, right?
I think she's
Or-
a part of
she's
the.
gotten big more recently.
Yeah, she rode the
Um,
coattails of like Celtic Phoenix and Fat Man Falling to get her. I'm not saying it as
Yeah.
a
She
disparaging
does
thing.
she streams with Raymond like every week. She's on that crew.
All right.
But Coop, who is your second worst?
My second worst thing that I have on here is Cinder, and I know that's I don't even think we really need to go over why. Everybody knows why.
No,
Like
she's such a just dumbass. Like
really is.
like it's the reason why she's not on my list, and she was not in contention for either of my lists, because like it's almost adorable at this point.
You tried.
Like
Yeah.
it's almost cute
That's
just
Cinder.
how much of a shitheel she is.
Why is Cinder is like, it's like, you're watching the cat and Tom and Jerry, do all this
mean Tom?
work. Yeah, Tom. You're watching Tom trying to kill Jerry, and then you just see Tom just getting totally like destroyed because Jerry is like 12 steps ahead of Tom the entire time. like that's how I feel about Cinder. Like I don't think I think there's a lot of stuff you could have done with her character to like improve her, and honestly still even keep like the Tom and Jerry antics of like, she goes to town and she tries to do what she does, but it just like fails. Like, because anytime Cinder wins, she's like coming out of like she's coming out of a black eye. Like sure, like yeah, she got the relic in the most current volume,
really?
but
She goes off half cocked without a plan, gets her ass kicked. All of her victories are due to like methodical planning and help from people far more competent than she is. And actually, if you really think about the lore stuff, it's Watts, Not just anybody. It's Watts both times. Like the only reason why anything in her Volume 2/3 plan works is because of the virus that Watts created. And then she just has so fucking no gratitude. Fucking gets him killed just out of spite. She's such a little shit.
Dang.
I mean, yeah.
Dang, Cinder is so evil. She forced Watts into a fucking RWBY and Justice League crossover. Brutal.
Kicks Neo into the Ever After for no fucking reason. Just because she can.
I have one thing to say about Cinder, and that is she's so boring that I just couldn't bother to put her on either list, to be honest, to me. And they wait, was it 8 volumes to give her a backstory? And in her backstory, what is the problem I've been talking about this entire time? No subtlety. It's like, oh, we're trying to make her sympathetic. She's got the evil stepsisters and stuff. She's Cinderella, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, obviously her name's Cinder. And then she kills the motherfucking hunter who is trying to help her for no fucking reason. Wow, well done, writers. You still have no idea how to do any level of subtlety whatsoever. So you give us this whole backstory on Cinder, and the backstory is, yep, she was just that evil the entire time. Guys, I did not need to come to class today. Like, oh my god, we didn't need to see that then. Why did you give us this? What was the point? You could have given actual development to other characters, like, oh, I don't know, given Yang and Blake another scene together so we could actually see them build a relationship. Or, I don't know, give Yang a scene with Ruby so she could actually be her sister, instead of just giving us the most pointless backstory of all time. Yeah, Cinder sucks.
Yeah, I mostly don't like Cinder because she's like I said, they gave her like really high level powers, and they kind of can't use her in fights now, pretty much, or else it would come off as kind of stupid that she would lose. Like like almost every time she's shown up since then, she's had to. Well, they did do the thing where they crippled her and gave her the grim arm and stuff like that, but that actually just kind of makes her seem like even more threatening. So it seems
Yeah.
to me like they can't really utilize her for the action that well anymore. And uh
Not without bringing outside help from one of the other maidens, Raven or Penny or Winter.
she did change in other ways, I would say. It seemed like in the first few volumes, she was kind of like more subtle and did actually plan things out and stuff, and was kind of smart. Uh, at least from what was seen of her.
Yeah,
But
no, I
then,
agree.
but then a lot of the rest of the stuff happened that. Well, just in general, I think the
It's sad that Cinder
the
seems smarter in the early volumes than the later volumes. She gets dumber as the show goes on.
But then on hindsight, she was just dumb from day one.
Well, yeah,
And
because now we know that Watts is the one who did the smart stuff in volume 3, but still, like, she actually looked calculating and threatening and clever, and like she could actually infiltrate in volumes 1 through 3. And then now it's just like, has Grim Arm, has Maiden Powers, Hulk smash, Cinder smash, basically.
and in volumes 1 through 3, she was also not. She didn't have like that sort of spiteful vibe against the people she was working with as much.
Yeah, it's less
It
pathetic,
didn't seem like,
honestly. She was more in
in
control.
fact, yeah. Well, it seemed like she was trying to be like more seductive towards all of them to like get them to actually like her and do what she wanted. It seemed like she wanted to be more manipulative at that point than anything else, but then later on she becomes just sort of bitchy. Uh, which, I mean, to be fair, like if I lost an eye and an arm, like maybe something about me would change too. But I don't know if they really, uh, if they really connected those things with the change, or even considered her to have changed. Nobody really points it out. Nobody is really like, I feel like even if it was obvious, if somebody had just done so much as point out that, yeah, Cinder's not feeling so hot ever since she got crippled that time. Maybe
I
don't
can't
fuck
believe
with
even
her.
Tyrion hasn't pointed that out. Like, he loves dunking
Yeah.
on her, and he's never given that line.
And that
Yeah.
would be a perfectly fine line to understand
It-
the change in character now.
Yeah.
And it would, and even then, I would say that that change in character would probably have to be maybe like a temporary one, like one volume she's like that, then she succeeds at something and she goes back to playing her old style that I prefer, like having her down in when somebody's down in the dumps, they're usually not there forever, and they usually have a comeback. Cinder kind of has a comeback, but she comes back worse. Eh,
Yeah, no,
so
it's true. It's you're reminding me that, like, volume 1 through 3 are not great, especially volumes 1 and 2. And we got all excited when volume 3 got more serious and volume 4 was more serious and still good, right? Volume 4 still one of the best volumes. But I gotta admit, I was having so much more fun watching volumes 1 through 3 than I ever had watching any of the other volumes. And Cinder's part of that. Like, Cinder's a fun kind of villain in volumes 1 through 3. Like, she's like, yeah, like she's kind of flirty, like manipulative. It's like, oh, this is kind of fun. She's an interesting
get
character at
why
this point.
you can get why people would want to follow her around at that
Yeah.
point.
Yeah, you can
Like,
see why Emerald is so fucking horny for her. Absolutely.
Let's get on to our number ones, dude. I
Okay,
have a feeling I already
you
know
know.
who
Just
yours
say it. You already know it. Just say it. Just say it.
Ozpin / Oscar.
Hell yes.
Before we go
You
any
knew it.
further, I will have to bow out because I got to go to bed.
okay.
Okay.
Good
All
night,
right. You have a good
Hyper.
night.
See you, dude.
Right.
Yeah, you knew it. It's Oscar Pin. Who else could it have possibly been? Come on. Come on. Who else would it have been? Still, on the rewatch, I hate Oscar himself a little less, but his character is still just as bad. And it boggles my mind. You know what actually pissed me off more? Is the fact that a lot of RWBY tubers actually like this bitch. And I think it's just because they think he's cute and they like shipping him with RWBY. And I hate that logic.
We kind of talked about that.
And I hate that logic because they'll do all these weird flips to like defend it. But like, I don't, you know what? I'm not even gonna bring up the age gap on either side. Honestly, the RWBY, if it's just Oscar by himself with RWBY being older than him, I don't care about that. That, if you're caring about that, fucking Gen Z is so fucking puritanical. Get the fuck over yourselves. Okay, that one I never cared about. I never cared about RWBY being 2 years older than Oscar. That does not matter. 3,000 plus or whatever year old Ozpin, that's weirder. Yes, they can get past that, but the biggest problem is not even that. It's the fact that Oscar has no character. And the thing that a lot of these other RWBY tubers, that I do like a lot of these things these other RWBY tubers do, by the way. Okay, it's not like I hate Judgmental Critter or Twins Link or Twins Inc. or Twins Link, whichever it is. I actually like a lot of the stuff they point out and a lot of the stuff they do. Okay. Just like I don't agree with everything Vex Viewer says, but I like a lot of the stuff he says too, right? But they definitely jump through hoops for Oscar because they're like, oh, like this would be nice, and it's like, oh, give Oscar something to do. It's like, guys, it's too late. He's never done anything. He has the personality of an ironing board. It's way too late for him to have a personality. They already skipped over his inciting incident. That is one of the worst things they could have possibly done. Adding a new character that late into an established show is also just such a fucking awful idea, guys. You already went through the big moment where everything changed. The reason why Crow was kind of okay before that is because they made sure to get both of those characters in before that. If you were gonna do a new-ish character, make Oscar a character from Beacon at least, or something. Somebody we've interacted with, somebody that we have a stake. Again, it should have been Jean. If they were gonna put Ozpin in somebody's head, it should have been Jean. I don't care if that would have. Actually, I'm a White Knight shipper at this point. I don't care if that would have ruined Lancaster. It would have made it so much more interesting if the guy responsible for Pyrrha's death was in Jean's head. How much more interesting would that have been than putting him in this milquetoast, punchable face little bitch ass kid, Oscar? Okay, the only reason why anybody likes him is because, oh, he's cute. Oh, he's going through it. It's like, bitch, they're all going through it. And we've actually seen all the other characters go through it. We ain't seen Oscar go through shit. That's the exact problem with his arc. That's why one of the reasons Volume 4 isn't the clear-cut best volume is because they introduce this guy with no personality. They have Oscar pop into his head. He resists, and then all of a sudden, he's on his way. We have no fucking idea how Oscar convinced him to go, and guess what? It's been 5 fucking more volumes since then, and they still haven't told us. And we're just supposed to like him because he's on the journey? No, you have to tell us and more importantly, show us why we're supposed to care about this character. We have to have reasons. There is no reason. Just because he's part of the fight, dude, everybody on Remnant now is part of this fight after the CCT went down and after Atlas fell. Everybody's going through it now, you motherfuckers. Oscar is not going through it any more than anybody else is now at this point. Yeah, he got captured by Salem. Whoop-de-doo. Ozpin took all the beating for him anyway. So we don't even get to give him sympathy for that. He's the only thing that Oscar has done to make me slightly like him is the time when he told them that Ozpin was lying. And again, that was actually a pretty badass moment. And guess what? What do I always keep saying? What I've been talking about this whole fucking podcast? The writers didn't follow up on that at all. What if Oscar continued to resist Ozpin for the rest of the show? And we actually had to have an arc, like throughout the rest of the show, of every time Ozpin tries to come back, Oscar is actually resisting him. And the kids are like, yeah, you know what, Oscar, you are your own person. You can resist Ozpin, right? We don't need Ozpin anymore. We want you, okay? And then we actually get to see more of Oscar's personality because we don't have to keep having him go back and forth between Oscar and Ozpin.
Have him somehow like find a way to like merge his soul with Ozpin, but become the dominant personality.
Yeah, and then we get more of it. And again, it's not like I want to hate Oscar. I don't want to hate Oscar, okay? I gave his character design, his new outfit, a really high rating. Yes, he does look great. Yes, he is cute. I don't argue that. Whatever. I don't care about that. That's fine. You're not wrong. Okay? He is a nice guy, but the problem is he literally is just like a nice guy. You know, he's got nothing beyond that. You got to give him something beyond that. And I don't think Ozpin should have ever come back. I never really liked Ozpin that much in the first place. He's just shitty Dumbledore. We've talked about he's shitty Dumbledore Sephiroth, okay? We know that, right? And the Ozpin backstory was fucking awful with Salem. All it did is make us actually slightly sympathize with Salem because the gods were actually kind of assholes to her, even though, yes, she was in the wrong, but they also treat her like absolute garbage, and all they're doing is torturing her at this point. It's such a stupid fucking idea, and they're torturing all of humanity for her one mistake. All of that is just so fucking stupid. She's stupid. Ozpin's stupid. The gods are fucking stupid. Jesus Christ, are you trying to lead everybody towards atheism? Because that's what you're doing, because they're making the gods fucking idiots. Okay? It's terrible. So Ozpin is so hateable. And I get at this point, in fairness, at least for a little bit they understood that Ozpin was supposed to be hated. But now he's just leading everybody again. They have this whole nice moment with Penny, and she's like getting taken over by the virus. And everybody's trying to help her and save her. And it's actually giving Penny a deeper character. And they have Nora being still like understanding Nora, like, hey, it's only a part of you. You can beat this. And then that gives Ruby the idea of, yeah, it's only a part of you. We can do something about it. And then Sean helps. And then even fucking Emerald is holding her down. And they actually fucking save her. But and the best part is they don't completely save her. They still have to do more with it in the future, which they do. And then Emerald actually gets a really nice speech about her like face turn. By the way, that's probably the best voice acted scene in the entire fucking show. By the way, I'll talk about it next podcast. And then they just ruin it by Ozpin going, "Hello, everyone. I think Ozpin would like to have a word with you." Is this a fucking like? fucking learning game for kindergartners? Hello,
They're fucking with us
friends.
at this point.
Like, are you shitting me? You guys did all of that. That was a great fucking scene in so many different ways, especially by RWBY standards. And then it's like, hello, friends. I am not a character. I am a vessel for this shitty character we've had since Volume 1. He would like to patronize all of you and lead you by the nose continuously for the rest of the show, as he's been doing the entire time. Would you please listen to him? And the rest of the characters are like, yes, we would like that. What if it was another thing where after all that great stuff that just happens, and Emerald has, given her nice little speech about converting and is actually really supportive. I'm going to get into that scene. The scene is so fucking good. That scene from that line, those lines from Emerald are so underrated. And what if Oscar was like trying to resist Ozpin coming out, and Ozpin was trying to help, and then they actually have another fucking thing to deal with, which is Oscar trying to resist Ozpin, and they never do anything like that. It's like, God damn it. Fucking hate this character so much.
I'm only going to say 2 things about Ozpin/Oscar. One, years ago, he was in my top 5 favorite characters. He was actually
you liked
number
Ozpin
2.
at first, right? You liked Ozpin at first.
I loved Ozpin at first. And the other thing is that I need to at some point do like a tier list of like characters that benefit from my characterization of them in RWBY Beyond. Because I don't do a whole lot with Oscar in RWBY Beyond. He is Ozpin's son, and he does like magically inherit all of Ozpin's memories from all of his prior lifetimes. But he's like kind of cheeky and kind of quirky. Like there's this whole arc where he puts on a fake beard and lives out in the swamp, goes by the Great Xianqi, and helps hunt down the Eldritch Grimoire and gives sage advice to the Summer Maiden Nova and her friends, and it is very clearly like kind of bridging the gap between the 2 generations, because he's like significantly younger than RWBY, but significantly older than any of RWBY's kids, and so he plays this like kind of cool, quirky
uncle
character to some of the cast members. And because that was really all I could think of to do with Oscar. As those volumes were coming out, I did try to incorporate as many of those characters as I could. Volume 6 was still coming out when RWBY Beyond ended up concluding, which is why Maria only gets a cameo mention and doesn't have an actual equivalent character in that series. But that's all I'm gonna say about Ozpin Oscars. That like it didn't have to be this way.
One last tiny little thing. I forgot to explain why I actually hate Rose Garden. The real reason is you do not ever get a main character together with a half-baked fuck-ass character that you add halfway through the show and add no characterization for. No main character ever deserves to go out like that. Okay? Honestly, at this point, I think RWBY's just like fucking Arrow Race RWBY. At this point, I would much prefer that, to be honest, to anything else.
I would be okay with that.
Yeah, but
and man, I am, guys. Like I'm not guys that like I'm not just a Lancaster shipper. I am the Lancaster shipper. Like the RWBY Beyond is a Lancaster fic first and foremost. But I am also a realist. I am someone who can smell plot developments coming as we get details. I'm hedging my bets on White Knight becoming canon.
I'm hedging my bets on White Knight
not ending up with anybody.
Yeah, that's what I'm hedging my bets on. Yeah, White Knight. Although I do have a sneaking suspicion they might find a way to do Rose Garden. I think I put it in the podcast tonight. I put it in our fucking chat. I haven't said it on here yet. I'll say it once we start Volume 10. Once we start our podcast, I'll say it.
Well, let me just say about Oscar, the reason I think he won't get with RWBY is because he's short. And chicks do not dig short dudes. Okay, it's not happening. You're not gonna land that baby.
That is actually true. That is one of the things my ex-wife would talk shit on me about. Actually, weirdly.
That's sad. I'm sorry that happened to you, man.
Even though I could bench press 3 of her, but whatever.
Should have been 5.
Yeah, my bottom 5, my 5th at the bottom, the very bottom, is interestingly and in a cool yin yang cooperative dynamic with Dude, it's Salem. I don't like Salem.
Hell
It's
yeah, dude. That's awesome.
and the reason that I
Salem's
don't
just such
like
a nothing character.
They
Like I
just
didn't even think
they
I
fuck-
didn't even think about her when making my list.
they deserve each other.
Salem, I put her at the bottom. She's like, I would say she is nothing, but it's nothing in like a similar manner to like how a black hole is, where all things kind of get sucked towards her. Think about it. I mean, we've gone over a lot of characters already that are kind of like hampered by the presence of Salem. You have Hazel. Hazel was kind of would maybe have worked on his own, but he had to be working for Salem because reasons.
No bad guy is allowed to not be on Salem's team, basically.
Even Adam
Besides Miss.
was on Salem's team at first,
Yeah,
basically.
exactly.
Even you know, a lot of everything kind of like has to go back to her. You can have like in the cases where they tried to have like things running in parallel to her, it doesn't work. It also kind of like her, just her nature kind of like undercuts the interpersonal drama that they try to put in with her a lot. I think because you have stuff like, okay, you guys are all working for her. Also, she can just spawn Grim whenever she wants. That can usually do everything that she needs. But yeah, she also has some workers that kind of operate under her. You have to question why they're doing it. Do they know what her ultimate goal is, i.e., the destruction of all of humanity? Does she just not tell them? What did she tell them? This never comes up. It's not they never explain why anybody is with her, but they are. They have to be because she's the main bad guy. And it really just it just makes it all a bunch of really weird stuff, and I kind of wish they hadn't put her in at all. I think they if they wanted to have like some sort of nebulous ancient evil thing, it probably should have been something that was already destroyed long ago, and you know, maybe some of the bad guys are trying to bring it back. That's a common plot in many uh fictions. But having it be there and be constantly there and always scheme, it just brings up too many questions. Like, how has she not already won? Like, it seems that she's got uh pretty much full control over these Grimm that have nearly purged the wilderness of all human civilization, you know, already. And it's everything that surrounds her, everything that like kind of it, it just stacks up a bunch of questions that are not properly answered, and it just makes me it really it ruins the whole show. I think I think she does. I think that's if that's going to be your bad guy, then that's a really bad guy. You should have come up with somebody better to be the main antagonist.
Yeah. No, you're so right. I think the biggest thing you said that whole time is she shouldn't have existed in the first place. And I agree with that. It's like that's why Osmond shouldn't have come back. He shouldn't have been tied with Salem.
I
He
feel
should have
like
just been the
Cinder
head.
on her own as she was prior to the later volumes, I think she could have been a perfectly fine main
Yeah.
villain characterized like that. I get that they were kind of trying to go with like a sort of weird sort of motherly gravitas to Salem almost, but it kind of it doesn't really go anywhere, and she simply because she doesn't have that many interactions herself. Like she's just kind of there. and she talks and occasionally gives orders and stuff. But Cinder was more active in the plot. She, like I said, her original personality was good. If they had kept that up with her, that could be a thing. I think also she, uh, with her, you could get why people would want to be under her or not be under her as well. Like you can, there's it's sort of instinctive reasoning that you could understand why they would follow or not follow her around. And you could, if you wanted to have like some drama in the villain side of things, of people betraying and backstabbing each other and having falling outs and then getting back together, if it was just Cinder, and I say specifically that they wanted to do this because you have things like that happen. You have things like Cinder fucking over Watts. You have things like Neo trying to get back at Cinder and then teaming up with her again. Had it just been Cinder that these things were operating around without Salem in the background, kind of just hovering there, being supposedly the main cause of it, I think it would have worked out better. I think it would have worked out in Cinder's favor. I think they, you know, we might think to ourselves, okay, yeah, this kind of makes more sense why she's doing X, Y, or Z without Salem. And it also would have, if you didn't have Salem, you also wouldn't need to have Ozpin come back, is another thing, which would be very helpful.
No, I mean, my least favorite thing, as much as I was like the world's biggest Renora shipper, I still kind of am, but like, here's the problem is like, I've gotten into, a lot more manga and light novels and visual novels. It's like, oh, I've got a lot better romance stories now. They're so much better than anything Renora ever had. Okay. So I don't really need that as much. I'm still mad at Nora, specifically her character, her assassination. But the biggest problem I would say in the show is the fact that Ozpin came back and Salem and his backstory even exists. You don't need that. RWBY as a show was so much better when it was about the characters interacting. Even though Volume 1 and Volume 2 were so incompetent in so many ways, it was so much more charming because you just had the characters actually just interacting with each other. And you don't need a big bad. You don't need to explain the magic. This is one of my biggest points I ever make, regardless of show, regardless of property, regardless of story. Stop over explaining the magic. That was one of the biggest mistakes Legend of Korra did. Learning about the origins of the Avatar was so fucking stupid. One of the best things Harry Potter does, yeah, J.K. Rowling's kind of an asshole now. One thing you can't talk shit about with Harry Potter, there's a lot of things you can talk shit on Harry Potter about. They never explain the origins of magic. They never explain how magic actually works. That's so smart. All the things you can talk shit about Harry Potter, you can never complain about that. And imagine how bad Harry Potter would have been if Rowling actually tried to explain where magic came from. Holy fucking shit, how stupid would that be? Any show where they explain the magic is so dumb, and RWBY makes that mistake. You don't need to explain semblances as deep as they're trying to, because it just contradicts everything. You don't need to have a backstory for the Grimm the way you do with Salem. They just need to be the bad guys that drive character growth, you fucking idiots. And so Salem, yeah, absolutely ruins that.
That is my one and only real complaint about Salem, and it's a complaint I have levied at many a major villain, which is that, and this is a problem with anime just in general, that most Western cartoons don't actually run into, most comic books definitely don't run into, which is that it robs other antagonists of their autonomy. Like, none of the RWBY villains can have autonomy or have any interesting dynamics with each other or with the main cast because they all just revolve around Salem and her fuck-ass plans.
And it's the same thing with the main characters. They all revolve around Ozpin and his fuck-ass plan. Everybody is just a puppet for these two terrible characters. How is that a good story? because it's both sides.
Mhm.
Oh,
Like you want to know why I hold MHA in such high regard, and why when it ended I heralded it as one of the greatest superhero stories ever made, because by the end of the story, Shigaraki does not give a flying fuck about All For One. He is on his own shit, even though All For One's literally trying to possess him, literally trying to do to him what Osmond does to Oscar, and Shigaraki is fighting that to the very fucking end as his body's deteriorating. He's like, fuck you, I'm my own person. That's why MHA is held in such high regard for me. Because that is how the villains are written in that show. Even though, like, they all do technically work for the same guy, they kind of fucking hate him, too.
that's why you're like the only person who's a fan of Quince that is actually happy that Yatsuha won. Because she is the only person that made, I forget his name actually at this point, but I did really enjoy Quince. She's the only one that like actually made him his own character. I'm also a Miku fan, but I actually completely agree that Miku did not deserve to win. Yatsuha was...
Yotsuba is the only one who made Futuro laugh.
Yes, she's the only one that actually like made him his own character. Like, being your own person matters, right? So, yeah, that's the same thing with Oscar, too. Like, if he... Well, he wouldn't even need to exist in the first place, but like all these characters are just serving the purpose of plot, but then the plot isn't good. And the reason plot should exist is to service the characters. That's why great shows are great. Avatar: The Last Airbender is not great because of the plot. It's one of the greatest shows of all time. I don't care if it's animated or not. And guess what? The point is not the plot. The point is not... The plot is so simple. Big bad, we must kill him. The end. Everything else is character. Everything else is the characters interacting with each other. Okay? It's... even the same thing with fucking Andor. That's one of the best shows I've ever watched. The plot is very simple. The rebels need to defeat the Empire. That's it. The Empire is evil. The rebels are the good guys resisting. That's it. There's nothing. It's obviously there's a lot of complexities. It's a great show, but again, it's not about. It just doesn't get as complicated as RWBY does. It doesn't do disservice to the characters in the same way. RWBY was supposed to be about the characters, and then they decided the show wasn't actually about the characters. And Salem, to Coop's point, is like kind of the perfect poster child of Salem and Ozpin. Like, mine and Coop's points are kind of the perfect poster child of that.
Yeah, I kind of feel silly having the person I have in number one now.
Well, who do you have then?
Yeah, go ahead and throw it out there. Let's see what you got, Media, if you want to.
So I thought long and hard about like what pisses me off about RWBY, and what character really truly embodies that. There is something that I said a long time ago, where I said that somehow, some way, Blake's character arc with Menagerie went from being the absolute worst thing to ever happen to RWBY to the best thing to happen in Volume 5 without actually changing in quality at all. And the big focal point of that arc is Ilya Amatola.
Holy shit!
I don't like anything about this character, and it becomes absolutely fucking hilarious in hindsight. So her whole motivation is that Blake didn't fuck her.
That is actually true.
And she is okay with being a terrorist. She is okay with the extremists of Sienna Khan. She is okay with riding Adam's dick so long as it's not actually inside her. Gay joke. And all she wants is Blake. And this is like her introduction and the way they set her up really spelled doom for Adam's character. Because this is the moment where like, oh, they have no plan to make Adam interesting. They literally took any possible interesting things about Adam's possible character arc and just half-ass gave it to Ilya with the face turn. The worst, in my opinion, one of the worst face turns of all time in any medium. Because it's literally like she is willing to kill Blake's parents all because Blake didn't fuck her. And there's this doomed Yuri feeling of it in the moment, which now it's hilarious because back then in Volume 5 was like, oh, it's tragic that the gay character fell in love with the straight girl. No, the gay character fell in love with the bisexual girl, and the bisexual girl just literally could not give a shit, and literally could not even recognize Ilya when they first clash it in Volume 4. Like, it's not until her mask falls off, despite her wearing the exact same outfit and using the exact same weapon that she uses in the Blake character short. Blake somehow didn't recognize her. Well, I still don't know what the fuck that was about.
In fairness to Blake, and I can't believe I'm defending Blake right now because she's in my bottom 5. Have you seen Ilya's character design? She's the ugliest goddamn character in the fucking show.
She does not look good. She would have been F tier if we put her in that outfit. Oh
god, her outfit's ugly. Her design is ugly. Let's just say everything about her looks awful. Blake, I'm with you. I want to hit it either. Okay, I'm sorry. No, I don't blame her. Okay, you can be bi. She's bi. That actually, I don't mind Blake's character arc for that because there's no reason she should be interested in that.
No, I don't blame Blake's character arc. I just think it's hilarious.
It is. It is actually kind of funny.
It loses that kind of tragic edge that a lot of people in the LGBT community could relate to.
Well, I mean, it's sort of like the how would I put it? Very few things I think do a sort of story for a character like that. It's somewhat realistic. I'll give it that. Like, sometimes you like a person who doesn't like you back is it's a mirror image of the world that many of us have lived in.
Oh, yeah. Totally respect that. I've been through it.
Yeah, I was on the Blake side of it one time, and I didn't, and it kind of it was bad for me too. Like I didn't like telling the girl off, like I didn't like making her feel bad. So there is stuff that can kind of come of something like that. I don't think it's something that you want to place like in the middle of a terrorist organization being the kind of background for it.
Yeah. That's a good point.
Yeah, I feel like, murdering people over it, that's not so realistic.
And then being pointlessly forgiven 2 seconds later, that was the
Yeah.
thing that pissed me off. I was like, Blake, no, have you... I know you're not supposed to be putting people in a box anymore, but like, this is way too much of an overcorrection.
If this was a slice of life series, I would be perfectly fine with this arc probably, but
Dragon. That's what Dragon Maid does all the time. Dragon Maid is one of my favorite shows ever. I'm staring at my fucking Toru and Kana figures right now. Yeah, but it's slice of life. The whole point is like everybody's supposed to be friends. It's a completely different premise. Yeah.
Yeah. I just think that trying to add that in as her motive for sticking with the Unabomber is like not really a great deal for her, because it kind of it's kind of it's a very shallow motivation for doing what it is that she's doing. And I mean, like,
and having her go through the face turn, it also like just kind of reeks of like feminist pandering. Is like, oh, she's allowed to have her face turn and be the good guy despite all the horrible things she's done because she's a girl.
Yeah, I think I mean the opposite thing that they could have done with that would have basically just been to be like that. Blake would have had to basically have called her out and been like, that was why you were doing all of this shit? Really? Because I wouldn't because I wouldn't 69 you? Like, fucking, you could probably have that happen. It would be, I think.
No, I agree. Like, I've gone through fucking way worse shit recently, which some of you guys kind of know about now, right? than fucking what Ilya's gone through. Okay,
Yeah,
way worse. I'm not going to detail it here. Okay, way worse than anything that Ilya's gone through. I just fucking let it go and I'm moving on with my shit and I'm hanging out with you guys and I'm just drinking more. That's it.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not becoming a goddamn terrorist about it. Okay. It's really not that hard. Okay. You just buy some more anime figures, play some visual novels, go travel with your friends and your family, just drink some more fucking alcohol. It's not that fucking hard. Okay.
There is a theme with who I ended up picking for my shit list, and it's motivation. Like, the character motivation is literally one of the first things you need to figure out when you're creating a character.
Run down your 5 again real quick.
Hazel, Raven, Yang, Robin Hill, and Ilya.
Holy
they all
shit!
Have bullshit motivations.
They have no motivation.
Don't line up with what they actually do. Like Yang is supposed to be the party girl, or her whole thing in Volume 2 is wanting to get wrapped up in all these crazy adventures. Then as soon as the adventure gets a little crazy, she's like, "Whoa there, we need to. What's going on, Ozpin?" Raven is supposed to be like kind of the selfish survivalist, like realist, cynical counterpoint to Crow's kind of like a drunken, kind of gloomy optimism. But then she paints a target on her back. Hazel is supposed to be this like person who's all about justice, but then he works for the fucking devil. And Robin Hill is supposed to be like, you know, hero of the people, hero of Mantle, but then she does things that just cause issues, cause trouble, causes more conflict and more tension between the two sides of Atlas and Mantle. And then Ilya is supposed to be like again, like this righteous person who's all about like faunus rights and the greater good, the bigger picture, but then all of her motivations all stem from like this super selfish feeling of like I don't want to use the word love, lust, or like these repressed gay feelings.
No, it's definitely just lust. Like there's
to the point like if she can't have Blake, she's gonna kill Blake's parents. What the fuck?
Oh, it's definitely just lust. Trust me. Like I can tell you, because like what I had was like actual love. It's gone. I'm not doing the fucking dumbass shit that fucking Ilya's doing. That's not how you respond to that if it's actually love. If it's a darker thing more like lust or desire or control, that's when you do the dumbass, crazy, psychotic shit. I can tell you that's the difference, right? If it's love, you let it go. Okay, as hard as it is, you let it go. And so, yeah, definitely lust is the right word. It's definitely not love.
I think if I were to say why it is that I made my 5, it would be less about like the characters not having motives and more like just the writers not seemingly having a good motive for having them in the plot. Like I that because it's
yours kind of seems like people who are actively detrimental to the overall direction of the story.
Yeah, I'm more about like when I'm thinking of like the character on a broad level trying. This might just be because I didn't like go back and like look at the stuff to watch it again. So I'm thinking about them more like on a broader level, and I'm thinking like, what are you here for? What are you supposed to be doing? What is it that you wind up doing instead? Uh, was that what you were supposed to be doing the whole time? Is that thing that you wound up doing a good thing, or should you have done something different? What your purpose within the story is kind of like more of a thing to me when I'm thinking about it in a broad sense like this. I didn't really think about it personality wise or motivation wise.
Mine was just who pissed me off the most. I think you
Yeah,
guys can tell that, right?
yeah.
Mine's just who made me angry.
The ones you are most disappointed in.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
So
disappointment for sure.
Media's was more about the character, mine's was more about the plot, and yours was more about the vibes and the feels.
Yeah.
And it's kind of and I would say that all 3 to a certain extent are equal. I'm wondering if there's like a 4th element that
Oh, I'm sure.
we're missing here. It maybe I don't know. Like if there was like some guy who was not asleep right now who could just like throw in another reason why he had ranked certain people certain ways. But who knows? We'll never be able to figure that one out.
Speaking of which, like we've been going like 2.5 hours.
I know.
Yeah.
It's time for the
Yeah.
top.
Want
that
to
was
put
our
a pin in the top 10 list?
Yeah, we're gonna
I think
have
we
to
kinda
break
have
that.
to.
Do that a different date. Yeah.
I think we kind of
Yeah.
have to now. Yeah. Unfortunately.
Well, I mean, we'll have a lot less to say about because again, like there's just a lot less cause to defend liking something. Like with you and Penny, you're like, I just like her personality. She's number 3.
Yeah.
So there'll be
not-
a lot more.
there's
of
not that many
but
characters.
I don't want to edit and render another 4-hour podcast literally right after I just got done editing and rendering a 4-hour long podcast.
And let's be honest, the one after is going to probably be a 4-hour podcast because you can't break up the scenes one. That one's probably going to be 4 hours.
That's the 100th anniversary. Like,
yeah, that one's going to be a big one.
So yeah, join us next time. We'll do the moment list. We have a couple other things on the.
No, next time is our top 10 characters because we just spent 2.5 hours on our bottom 5 each.
Well, no. Next time is the moments because that's the 100th.
Oh, that's
episode.
right. Okay, you're right.
And then we'll do like the top 10
10
best characters, and
Okay.
then we also want to revisit the soundtracks, do the soundtracks we've never covered. We got a lot of other ideas. For,
I think we're gonna have to do individual volume retrospectives.
Yeah.
I think
it's at some point.
I think it's time we'll start doing that. We're gonna keep doing stuff like this because spoiler, I was married, I am not anymore. I've got free time to hang out with these guys again. I was the bottleneck before, and I no longer am. So, and we actually have motivation to do stuff because we have another volume coming. So we're gonna fill this time, and we actually.
I've also had a good time editing these. The last couple that we've done.
No, these are fun. Honestly, this is the most fun I've had with any of our podcasts. Is all these recent ones, to be honest.
Yeah,
I think this has been the most fun.
Distance makes the heart grow fonder.
No, I agree with that. So yeah, we're not going anywhere.
Yeah, thank you all for watching. Read my books, follow me on Twitter, join the Discord, support my Patreon if you want, and let us know what other topics you would like us to do podcasts for.
That's a good idea.
I have a bunch of introductions already planned. I have more introductions than we have podcast topics, so I need something to have introductions for.